in my way, sir.
Oh, come on now. Look, this isn't funny. I'm sorry, Master Jedi. I didn't know. I would have never. I'm gonna be going right.
You're in his spot. I think you ought to move along.
Yes, I think I ought to move along.
Move along.
Yes,
move along.
I'll move along.
Man, those Jedi were jumpy for some reason. Well, the first order of business on my last day of E3 was to head to LucasArts and BioWare for a hands-on demo of Star Wars: The Old Republic. And folks, this is how a demo should be done. This is what I expect to see at E3. I want to see something I've never seen before, and BioWare delivered. The Old Republic is a fully voiced MMORPG, no walls of text mission screens. BioWare's goal is to create an immersive, story-driven cinematic experience that makes you feel like an important, heroic character in the Star Wars universe. Every character class has their own distinct storyline, with supporting characters and a professionally written plot to take you all the way to the high levels. BioWare also expressed a desire to keep the gameplay fresh and exciting as you advance, giving the player a real sense of accomplishment with milestones like unlocking your own personal starship that serves as your home base. Your character's look will also improve and mature as he takes center stage as a heroic player in the story. Other new features include the use of available cover in firefights to give yourself defensive bonuses, turning points in the plot involving ethical choices, and new planets like Hutta never before seen in other games.
I wasn't expecting much from the Imperial military.
Oh, and there's also multiplayer dialogue options where everyone in the group gets a vote on how the story unfolds. They're staying quiet about the possibility of including starship combat, but if they can pull it off, this really could be a total package contender to knock World of Warcraft off the top of the heap. Hey everyone, it's Spoony here with Greg Zeschek, the co-founder of BioWare, and we're here to talk about Star Wars: The Old Republic, the new MMORPG that is taking E3 by storm. Me and Angry Joe are so excited about this game. Now, I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'll just I'll ask you mainly, what do you think your focus was in creating and designing Star Wars: The Old Republic? What do you think sets this apart and innovates that makes it different from every other MMORPG on the market?
Well, I mean, there's really a sense of choice in the game. Obviously, BioWare's games traditionally on the single-player side allow you to make like life and death decisions. You actually can do this in Star Wars: The Old Republic, and most MMOs, you don't have any choice. They say, hey, go do this quest,
right.
You go do it, and you're done. And that's it, and then you get another one. This one, you can actually change what you can do, make a decision. Someone lives or dies. You can surprise people by actually tricking them and actually getting a quest reward and ripping them off at the same time. All kinds of crazy things happen in this game that actually you don't see normally in MMOs at all.
Right, so in the demo they said that cinematic storytelling was a focus of this game, that you wanted to feel like you were the hero of this, but actually moral and ethical choices that might branch the plot of the story are important too, you're saying?
Absolutely they are, and I think, the key thing is that you feel like you can engage with the story and make decisions, and this is the coolest thing about this, there's no save game. You can't go and reload and make the choice. Once you've made it, it's a one-way trip, and you got to live with your decisions.
Right, and every character has their own separate story, so there is almost endless replay value. Was there anyone in particular responsible for the writing of the various plots, like anyone who might have been responsible for the Star Wars Extended Universe novels?
Well, actually, yeah, no. There's two groups. There's one of the guys, Drew Karpyshyn's involved in the game. He's the guy that worked on he was the writer on the original Knights of the Old Republic, and he also worked on some of the novels for LucasArts. He's actually been with BioWare for years. He's worked in the Austin studio. And also Daniel Erickson, who's the lead writer. He worked on a lot of the Dragon Age stuff, but then went down to work in Austin. And we have a big writing team, a crack team of people that know Star Wars. They love it, and they're super talented, and that's what they do.
All right, so my last question, the most important question probably, is when can we expect to play Star Wars: The Old Republic?
Well, we've seen, John Riccatello, the CEO of EA's mentioned before, it's spring 2011, so it's not far off. It's going to be, we'll see how it goes. Lots of work to do, but we're pretty excited.
All right, so that's all from here. That's all from BioWare. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. We're all looking forward to Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'll catch you later.
Ready to do this?
Let's do this!
Come on, where's Camp come? I'm gonna kick your ass, Spoony.
Oh, in your wildest dreams you kick my ass. You better wake up and apologize.
Deadpool's mine. Called it.
Oh!
Oh! Hey! Hey! What's going on here? Come on!
No! Wolverine's defeated.
Oh, that's it. Completely shut it down.
Now you're mine! Whirlwind kick!
No!
Bitch! Lay down!
I refuse to lose.
No!
No!
The hot sun, Deadpool!
That's it. Iron Man, you're my only hope. Oh, no!
Oh! I made you weep like the bitch you are! Doy aqui! Matar que eu tá!
THQ also had a massive presence at E3, complete with a fort and the most elaborate booth presentation I'd ever seen. They had guys dressed like Space Marines, orcs, and Vietnamese soldiers. I mean, a lot of Vietnamese soldiers. They had a military drill of about 150 soldiers march through the South Hall, all to promote their new shooter Homefront. It might have been the most heavily promoted game I'd seen, but weirdly, THQ didn't have a lot to show for any of its games except trailers. I was really excited to find out more about Homefront, Warhammer Space Marine, and the upcoming Warhammer MMO, but nobody was willing to tell us anything more than what was in the trailer already. We barely got them to admit that Marines and Orcs will probably be in the game, much less anything else. You'd think with a franchise as promising and exciting as Warhammer 40k, they'd be promising the stars for an upcoming MMO, but they remain tight-lipped, and I don't really have any news to give you.
This is Spoony, and I'm here at Sega. And I just helped Angry Joe shoot his interview with the PR people for Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1. Now, he had his own issues with the game. For instance, why is it episodic? My question, and it's a very simple one, is what the hell is with this series? This is the most impotent, lousy, stagnant, unchanging, no evolution piece of shit series that will not die, and it's here at E3, and not only has it gotten worse, it's gone backwards. The last few Sonic the Hedgehog games were so abysmally bad, so dreadful, so broken, so unplayable, and so lousy that fan feedback was very simple. Bring us a Sonic game that doesn't suck. And they were like, okay, so you know what they did? They went back to the first version of the Genesis game, and they quite literally remade it in HD. That's it. I have never been so bored. Not even Final Fantasy XIV was so boring as to witness everyone at this convention playing the exact same game that I played 18 plus years ago on the Genesis. How pathetic is that? I don't ask for much. I don't ask for great graphics. I don't ask for great story. But I would like to ask that if I were to play the first game in the series and then come back nearly 2 decades later, that I would be playing a fucking different game in the series. I am raging about this. This is pathetic. Sega can kiss my ass over Sonic 4. Spoony, out! Hey guys, I just checked out Tron. We're about to head into Pirates of the Caribbean Armada of the Damned for a live demo. I just wanted to give you my brief thoughts on Tron since I was playing it for a little while, and I gotta tell you, so far, again, I'm not seeing much new in this one. Really, to break down the style for you,
What?
I'm not seeing anything new, Joe.
That game is from. I mean, what do you mean the old Trons were like little 2Ds? Okay, I'm sorry.
If the cameraman has a problem with what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is that Tron, despite looking like Tron, is really just a game that plays a lot like Prince of Persia, a parkour style game with a lot of like you throw your disc around, but it plays a lot like Kratos from God of War. I'm really just feeling it like Prince of Persia with a Tron theme on it. I was expecting something else. I didn't get to play the stage with the light cycles on it, so I don't know how well that controls. I did see some people playing it, and to tell you the truth, that didn't look much like the light cycles that you're familiar with from the game. I didn't really get a sense of like hyperkinetic speed, the sharp right angle turns. I didn't get much of that impression. Who knows? Maybe I'm just being an old bastard stuck in the mud about this kind of thing, but it's not the kind of game I was expecting out of Tron. You know, like you were doing things like wall runs, you were doing things like doing vaults over objects, wall running and then jumping off, mounting and mantling walls and stuff like that. A lot of clinging to walls and running around. So yeah, I got a very Prince of Persia vibe about it, and I'm not sure it's going to break away from that mold. I'm not sure you're going to get that kind of new innovative experience that kind of very Tron sci-fi style experience that I'm expecting. So, kind of disappointing news from that one because I was really looking forward to Tron, but I am looking forward to Pirates of the Caribbean, so we're going to check up on that one next, and I'll see you next time.
I didn't choose death. If anything, death chose me. They say, dead men tell no tales. But my tale is just beginning.
All right, we just got out of two major demos, one for Pirates of the Caribbean, Armada of the Damned, and Vanquish. My first thoughts on Pirates of the Caribbean, it looks like I'm not going to make any friends this E3 because turns out I'm even angrier than Joe this time around. In fact, Joe's getting a little irritated at me. My first impression... I am indeed. First off, I did like the fact that in Pirates of the Caribbean, you have two distinct storylines. In fact, perhaps even four. You can play as a legendary pirate, one that's like Captain Jack Sparrow, one who seeks fame and fortune, and you can play a dread pirate, one who basically gets cursed into being an undead and is trying to find salvation for his soul. And in the middle of each one of those, you can make moral choices, either good or bad, and the storyline and game will change accordingly depending on what you choose. I really like that part. I always love moral decisions, I always love branching storylines, and I love replayability. That is number one good stuff. What I didn't like so much is that they keep calling this game an RPG, and I'm telling you right here that it's not. The only thing that's RPG-like about it is that you can level up your various weapons and your skill combos. But that does not make an RPG because the entire gameplay is basically like an action-adventure game in the same vein as like Fable 2, or as I would prefer to call it, God of War. I'm calling God of War knockoff on this one because basically you play a guy who swings a heavy object on the end of a chain and kills enemies. I don't know what else you call that, but that's me. I also found it more than a little silly that your guy carries around a boat anchor on the end of a chain and uses it as a weapon. It's Pirates of the Caribbean. I know it's not meant to be serious, but the guy is throwing a boat anchor at people. And we all know there's only one other game in which you play a guy who throws a boat anchor at people, and that is Final Fantasy VIII. That did not end well. But it still does look like a well voice-acted, pretty fun action-adventure game. And to tell you the truth, the kind of lighthearted plot does break the mold of God of War, so I actually still am looking forward to it. Now, we actually got a behind-closed-doors interview, actually a demo of Vanquish, or Vanquished, as I like to call it, because it's got the studly giant Q, the big fucking Q. So we got to look at that one, and my impressions of that one. I was actually pretty excited about it. At first, I was chalking this one up to being kind of a Gears of War knockoff because it's very dependent on the type of action where you run to cover, you pop up, you shoot your machine gun at robotic enemies, you pop back down, and you just go from cover to cover. It's another one of those stop and pop games. But what they're trying to do with Vanquish is make it a lot more kinetic, a lot more fast-paced and action-packed because you're wearing this power suit that gives you the ability to basically move at like warp speed between cover. So like if you look at a cover like way on the other side of the room, you can hit the turbo button and you will basically do like a rock star power slide on both knees as you like power slide all the way to the cover. You'll stick to the cover, pop up, oh! So like the entire game you are doing like the Tenacious D power slide all over the place. Although the one thing they were very proud of this whole time, they were talking about it like it was the most original thing they'd ever come up with, the most original thing to hit games ever. You know what that thing was in their game? Bullet time. Wow! A game with bullet time! I've never seen anything like that before. Well, sign me up for Vanquished. It's the kind of thing where basically your suit injects you with drugs or something like that to make sure you are more and more perceptive the more you take damage. You can also trigger the bullet time manually. Honestly, I don't think that one is going to fly that well because it's just another bullet time mechanic and it's not all that original. There's also no multiplayer for that one, although I can definitely understand why. When you're actually dealing with a mechanic that slows time down, or at least perception of time slows down, that is insanely difficult and in fact impossible to do with multiplayer almost every time. Still, that one is slated for an October release this year, so it's definitely worth a rental at least. I'm still pretty excited about that one.
Ah, the Wii. We'll never stop searching for new ways to make you look completely undignified and ridiculous when playing a game. But seriously, aside from the inflatable race cars and the disturbingly accurate sniper rifles, the Wii seems to have become the official fitness machine for gamers around the world. There was a real fitness craze on the floor of E3. I saw games and peripherals for people of all shapes, all sizes, and all ages. I even saw a Nickelodeon kids workout game. But hey, there's worse things to be interested in, I guess, and it's kind of refreshing to see this become a real focus of gamers everywhere. And believe me, after this E3, I don't think you'll find there's a shortage of any kind of workout and fitness materials on the Wii.
Well, it's that time. We have to leave E3, and I wish I could tell you I'd seen everything there is to see. I feel like I've seen less than 10% of what there is to see, and it was a lot of fun. My final closing thoughts: I never did get a chance to see the 3DS. The lines were insane, although I do have some thoughts on the 3DS. Again, thoughts which will probably make me very unpopular among the fans. I've heard the 3DS is amazingly impressive. You don't need any special hardware to view the 3D, and I've heard it's good. I heard it's not headache-inducing. I've heard even people with kind of vision problems can see very well with it. My problem with it is the initial game launch, the initial launch games are completely unimpressing me. Why? Because almost all of them are simply 3D remakes of previously existing N64 games, like The Legend of Zelda, Star Fox, Metroid, that kind of thing. That completely unimpresses me. I'm sure they're great games. In fact, I know they're great games, and it'll be cool to see them in 3D, but I've played them. I'm done with them. I don't know what else to say about that. I really wish I could see some new, exciting games, and Nintendo is not delivering that. Now, I still think the 3DS has an amazing amount of promise if they can get some new games on it. Sega's real bomb again for me was Sonic 4. Intensely embarrassing. I still don't understand the Sonic fan base, but I'm sure you're going to tell me all about it. The last game we reviewed was Lord of the Rings: War in the North. My thoughts: it was okay. It just seems so generic and average. Joe freaked out, but I've played so many generic action RPGs, in fact, like Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, made by the same company, which is essentially the same game. The core basis of the game is that it's a 3-player cooperative game. You play a mixed party of 3 characters. As you run around, you each have your own distinct viewpoint, and you're basically doing a dungeon crawl as you go through caves, you kill cave trolls, you collect swag, you arm your characters. It is more of an RPG than Pirates of the Caribbean, I will give you that. But I just don't see any real promise to this one. The story might be interesting, although it just doesn't seem that they keep saying that it's canonical with the series. Although when you've got characters throwing magic spells and stuff like that, that's not very Lord of the Rings. Like guys, you got wizards out there turning people to ice. That doesn't happen in Lord of the Rings. You have dwarves fraternizing with elves. Doesn't happen that often with Lord of the Rings. So I'm even calling into question the accuracy of it being a Lord of the Rings game. I'm not seeing it because I'm kind of a purist when it comes to those games. But on the whole, it was all right. I was overall disappointed. Oh, I'm sorry. The last thing I saw was the Kinect. I saw one Kinect game, and I gotta tell you, it doesn't work. I'm telling you right here, the Kinect does not work. In fact, the guy who was
One game.
it was one game, but the guy all but told us when you stepped up in front of it, it doesn't work well when you're wearing black. Who else knows what it doesn't work with? Who's going to throw down that much money for a barely functional piece of hardware with games that, by and large, seem to be just simple tech demonstrations and mini games? The game we played featured you sliding mugs of root beer across. It barely worked. It was more glitchy than anything else, and it really amounts to little more than some kind of game you'd play on the Wii that came shipped with the Wii on Wii Sports. In fact, most of the games I saw were like that. Now, again, I didn't see most of the more popular games like the dancing one, but overall, color me unimpressed when it comes to the Xbox Kinect.
Okay, Spoony. What games did you like here at E3? First, did you have fun?
Yes, I had an incredible amount of fun.
Okay.
It was great meeting the developers. It was great meeting all the fans, and it was great seeing these new games that were coming out. It was great getting fired up about the games.
But what games did you like?
Deus Ex 3, man. Deus Ex 3 stole the show for me, as did Shogun 2 Total War. I've talked about that at great length. I also like Civilization 5. I forgot entirely about Star Wars The Old Republic, an MMO, the only MMO, which really did blow me away. I played as an Imperial agent because I like to play roguish characters, although when push comes to shove, I'm going to play a light side Jedi because, I'm not an evil guy. Besides that, the Sith are going to be crushed under my heel. But it brought a lot of new stuff to the MMO thing, to the MMORPG experience. It's very story driven. It's very cinematic. It makes you feel like the hero of your own story, and by that I really do mean that. You have a story based around each class, fully voiced.
It's basically, you cannot play text-based RPGs anymore because they'll all feel empty and lifeless.
Yeah, it's going to feel very quiet all of a sudden. It feels like an authentic Star Wars experience. It feels very fast-paced and fun. I had a lot of fun playing it. I got a hands-on demo. Can't show you any footage of that, of course. But I'm sorry I forgot about Star Wars The Old Republic, man. You even got me into a demo for that one. Yeah, that was very impressive. Oh, the last one, Star Wars Force Unleashed, I can't tell you anything about that one. Why? Because all they're doing is they're putting a full motion video up. I'm not seeing any gameplay, so I don't have any news to report on that one. There's absolutely no demo footage of that one. But time's running out. It's time for us to go. This is Spoony at E3 with Angry Joe. We're going to come back. We're probably going to have you more footage from us at home as we go and decompress and we analyze all the stuff, all the sensory overload that we experience here at E3.
E3 kicked ass.
In the meantime, this is the Spoony one.
And Angry Joe.
We're going to see you next time.